Ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Well, good morning and happy hump day, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, everybody watching online on YouTube and Twitch. This is the Early Bird Special. I am Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
It's an NFL-filled Wednesday, but let them know what they're in for.
We will be talking NFL, miscellaneous injuries, quarterback battles, holdouts, plus we'll have another 559 fighter. This one, Aaron Flores, will join us at 8 o'clock. We'll get into Mickey Mouse buying everything, not only the NFL.
This is new?
Yeah. No, not really.
I've been calling this for years. Mickey can rule the world, man. Disney can rule it all. I do not care.
As long as I don't have to go to Disneyland, I'll be happy.
What are you talking about? The world's going to be Disneyland here in a second,
Right.
my friend. They're going to have every single Starbucks pumping out that vanilla stuff they put in the air out there. It's going to be great.
We'll get into some WNBA activities, and maybe if we have some time, we'll get into maybe a new venture for LeBron. But just like every day this week, we'll be giving away some tickets to Bakersfield Brunch Fest.
Absolutely.
And Bakersfield Brunch Fest will host more than 1,500 attendees and will feature bottomless brunch bites from over 20 local chefs and restaurants, a variety of beverage bars, a souvenir glass, live music, and a DJ, plus an overall fun day of brunch and beverage sampling. Coming to the Kern County Fairgrounds on Saturday, October 11th. Tickets go on sale August 13th, but you can win them right here on the Early Bird Special. And today we'll have some fun. Just text in your fantasy football names, your team names to 842-2000. We'll pick a winner. And until then,
And
let's
even
just
if
get
it's
in.
even if it's not your name, send in the best name that you've heard. I love these unique fantasy football team names. Some of them get pretty dicey, so let's keep it PG-13, please. No need to tell us, what the, I'm not even gonna go into it.
It's bad enough we're already talking some WNBA stuff later.
Exactly. And I'm gonna throw this out there because I think a listener pointed this out, and I never really put two and two together. But now that this is becoming an actual epidemic, it has happened for a third time.
They're coming from everywhere.
I'm telling you right now, dude, there might be something to this deeper that we don't know yet. I think that there is a message being sent, and we'll get to that in the second hour when we talk about that. But there's plenty of stuff in the NFL to talk about. Trading camps are well underway. Everybody is raring and ready for the preseason to start. And to be honest with you, it's been chock full of some interesting stories that we have to get to today because there's just so much. There's quarterbacks being chosen for the first preseason games. We have a team that went back to their ex again, technically. And actually, that's the joke of the day. I throw this out there because I threw it out to Randy yesterday, and he got a good chuckle out of it. Sparky, what's worse than going back to your ex-girlfriend? Going back to a second one. The LA Chargers have decided to sign Keenan Allen, which we all saw and we all kind of figured was going to be coming, to be honest with you.
Let's hoping not. He went to work out with Miami the week before, but I get it.
I mean, again, you have a long-standing relationship here, especially with the quarterback. You're 33 years old. Only problem I see here is that they got somebody that plays in your position.
Right.
Which means you now have to move to a different one. Not to say he can't do it. Keenan Allen's one of the most consistent wide receivers in the NFL and has been since he's been on the field. Is this going to benefit the Chargers in the long run, though, my friend? And calling out to the listener who called us crazy the other day when we were breaking down the AFC West and said their wide receiver room was fine and they didn't need anybody else.
Why are you bringing up Keenan Allen?
Clearly, we are the dummies, right? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Look, man, I'm all for Keenan Allen signing with the Chargers. I really, really am. I'm just curious how you're going to get this to work because now with Ladd McConkey in and he plays that slot position, there's no way you're moving Ladd out to the outside.
No,
you would absolutely making him a non-factor.
Yeah,
Keenan Allen could play on the outside if you need him to, and then you have Quentin on the other side. Obviously, does this push the Chargers forward enough to take at least the 2 spot away from Denver.
Or you mean the Chiefs?
Well, I mean, if you have the Chiefs at number 2, then go for it.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's it's
No,
enough?
I just think Denver is getting better, and I think the Chargers are in that. Are we taking a step forward, or are we kind of doing what we've been doing? And has nothing to do with my hate against the Harbaughs, but I just don't see it in Herbert. I just don't. And I'm going to put my money on what Sean Payton has done already. And I'm a defensive guy, and I think Denver's defense is top 5 defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with Denver, Kansas City, and then maybe the Chargers. But again, I'm not going to sleep on those Raiders. The more I read about the Raiders, and I love Genty, and my only question is, what Geno are we going to get in Vegas, and how tough can this defense be?
Right.
Because they're going to have to show up in that division.
And again, although Mulugeta is the agent of Micah Parsons, I still like that choice.
I heard that promo this morning.
I know. And again, I'm standing by my prediction. I really am. Raider fans, I mean, love it or hate it, I think that you have a genuine shot at taking Parsons away from Dallas, because I do believe there's some validity to this. We'll get to that after this first break here, because there's been more from Jerry Jones. And to be honest with you, I don't really think he cares this way, that, or the other. So, but going back to the Chargers, I am wondering, though, if this Keenan Allen move is going to benefit the run game, because Jim Harbaugh is very much going to run the football this year. Can Keenan Allen sustainably block outside corners? I'd say yes. He's a pretty solid blocker for you and has been. I just don't know how much of a home run hit this is going to be, like I think a lot of Charger fans are hoping it will be. I think they're thinking they're re-signing the kid that they had back when he was 27, 28. We got to remember he's in his 30s. This will probably be, I hate to say it, but this is probably his last contract. I think he would play out this contract, maybe get another shorter one on the other end if you got 1-2 more years left in you, and push it out to 37, 38 years old. But right now, looking at this, he's 33. You get about 2 or 3 years left of solid wide receiver play out of Keenan Allen. I think that's fair. But is it enough really to push you over the top and get Herbert the help he needs to actually be the Chief Buster and now Bronco Buster of the league? I don't know. I don't think so.
Do you think he has a better year than he did last year? I know in Chicago he had 70 receptions, 744 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, but again, I'd say yes, only because him and Justin already have the chemistry and rapport from obviously playing with each other.
Yeah.
You may have had 1 year off, but you could chalk it up to saying, injury year, I guess, or just put it up in your mind as something where Keenan just wasn't a factor last year. And I think that the relationship between Keenan Allen and Caleb Williams was good. You saw it multiple times that they were going to each other on the sideline, trying to figure stuff out and get a good chemistry rolling, but it just never really happened, right?
That's why I was a bit surprised that the Chicago Bears didn't bring him back.
Right. Well, but I feel like the Bears feel like they have what they need with DJ Moore and Rome Odunze.
I love Rome.
And I do too. And again, much like this whole Ladd McConkey situation with LA, Rome plays the slot, which is where Keenan Allen thrives. He really does thrive as a slot receiver. But when you take that away from him, that kind of chalks it up to, okay, he's trying to figure it out in a different offense and in a different position. So that's why I say last year is probably going to see more as a stumble year, even though, like you said, 70 catches, 700 yards. That's really a solid year for a wide receiver. Not amazing, but it's good enough to say you warrant a starting spot somewhere. And going back to a team like LA, who desperately needs a number 1 receiver outside of Ladd, I get Ladd can, carry you to a point, but a slot receiver can only do so much. And you need a secondary guy who's a bigger body that you can throw to in the red zone situations, which I think Keenan will thrive in. So I think he would definitely benefit more from playing with the Chargers than he would going back to
the Bears. I do like, the chance of him, playing again with the Chargers and maybe going out. He did sign a 1-year deal, so maybe it's like okay, let's see how much gas you left in that tank type thing. And it's somebody that they've already had and fits their offense. But like you said, I know they drafted a couple receivers. They got Ladd, they got Quentin. We'll see how he fits. I think it's more of just a like he won't get a ton of snaps. I think he'll be more of a fill-in on the, third and long type things, but we'll see how Keenan works out. The other deal going on with receivers yesterday, we got the Jordan Addison suspension, where he got the first 3 games of this season suspended due to that DUI related incident in July of last year. Now he's allowed to fully participate in training camp and preseason games. Well, we'll miss the first 3 games, which is the Bears, Falcons, and Bengals. And then he could return in week 4 in Dublin against the Steelers. Do you think this is not a big surprise, but do you think this
No.
hits anything with JJ and, the first 3-4 weeks of the season?
It's definitely going to handicap JJ to a point, right? I mean, you lose your number 2 receiver, you're going to be feeling it. I mean, you still have Justin Jefferson though on the other side, so I doubt he's going to be feeling it that bad. It's all really going to come down to how much he prepares for that week 4 game. You know what I mean? We knew this was coming. You get busted for a DUI or anything like this during the offseason, some sort of punishment is going to be coming from the league. This is just kind of the way things work. And I mean, when we heard Jordan Addison got in trouble in LA, we kind of figured 3-4 game suspension by the NFL at minimum. So he probably saw this coming. It's a good thing that they're allowing him to go through training camp and preseason still, although they probably won't play him during preseason. Maybe you'll see him a little bit in that last game just to kind of get him going, since he won't be able to play the first 3. But does it really hurt the Vikings going forward? Sure, you're playing with probably your left hand behind your back in a way, or maybe just a little bit dinged up, I guess was the best way to put it. But when you have guys like Justin Jefferson on the other side and TJ Hawkinson at tight end, I mean, Jordan Addison, although a big part of this offense at points, you can probably sit there and say you can wait 3 weeks to have him back. You probably could. But again, when he comes back is going to be the big tell. Can you actually continue to work with this new quarterback and get lockstep with him and JJ to potentially get this Vikings team back to the success that they were last year with Sam Darnold at the helm? Because right now everybody's questioning, can JJ McCarthy come in and do the same thing? And playing without your number 2 receiver, although it's going to hinder you a little bit, I'm sure his numbers will look a little bit better, obviously, week 4 going forward. But as of right now, if you're a fantasy football player as well, I would stay away from Jordan, at least for those first 3 weeks. He's not somebody that was targeting anyway, to be honest with
He was
you.
not a big fantasy guy anyway.
Yeah. But long run, we kind of saw this coming, so it's not really a surprise to me.
And former Vikings first-round pick and 4-time Pro Bowl linebacker Anthony Barr announced his retirement this week, which he took the year off last year, so it's not a big surprise. But just some other NFL miscellaneous news. We'll get into some of these injuries and holdouts, and a couple quarterbacks were announced to be preseason week 1 starters.
Plus, how do you feel about this entire NFL banning smelling salts thing? I thought it was funny what George Kittle did yesterday. I wish I would have grabbed the audio. I totally forgot to do so before I left here, but we'll get into that as well. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Good morning. We had mushroom coffee.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because JR over here was testing out some orange soda
Yeah, he
creamer.
showed me this. Yeah, we both came to the conclusion though that it's not actually made for coffee.
Oh,
It's
no.
actually for the crushed soda. I'm not sure exactly if anybody knows what a dirty soda is and can explain it to me. I get it's like soda with creamer in it or something of that nature. I really
Added
don't get it.
added sugar.
JR was telling me it's something that people in Utah do a lot. We had some Utah listeners that chimed in on YouTube, so feel free to chime in again. What the heck is a dirty soda? We don't do it here in California. We really don't. So you need to explain this to me and why it's a thing because I'm so confused.
But right
Really, really
after
am.
right after we got off the air yesterday, the Rams locked in running back Kyron Williams, 3-year, $33 million extension.
And
Great deal.
we were talking about this last week when we brought up the West Divisions. Kyron Williams, a criminally underrated and underappreciated running back in the NFL. Somebody who scored, didn't he score every game last year or pretty dang close to it? It's somebody
He
that,
had 14 touchdowns last season.
yeah, he absolutely tore up the league. There was a point because I had him in fantasy football and he was the top runner for me almost every single week. Not to relate it to fantasy at all, but I love seeing this. I love the fact that the Rams are now putting their trust in Kyron. I know that the entire injury when he was in his second year, if I'm not mistaken, the ACL injury scared him a little bit. I get that, or maybe it is an Achilles. I'm not sure. It was a lower leg injury. I know that for a fact, but it is one of those situations where the NFL is starting to realize the benefit of having a great running back, right? I think that we were going away from that too much. The running back position was dying for a while there. We were talking about it a couple years ago, how guys like Saquon and Derrick Henry weren't going to get paid what they deserved because nobody ever saw the value in a running back anymore. I think that is 100% taking a 180.
I mean, if you can get a running back like Kyron for
Yeah.
11 a year,
Yeah.
whew,
That's pretty
Still
good
it.
odds. And don't get me wrong, we know that these things will be restructured towards the end of the contract, obviously. But until you need to cross that bridge, I think that's a pretty dang good value for him, especially for a guy who may be a little undersized, but can easily get into the end zone as he showed you last year.
almost had 1,300 yards last year. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can get it for that price,
And again, I know a lot of you are screaming, when are you guys going to do your fantasy football stuff? If you don't have Kyron Williams on your short list of top 5 running backs for next year, you're doing yourself a disservice. You really are. That's just my personal opinion.
and we'll kick off our Friday with Fantasy Friday, starting up with the quarterbacks this Friday, but keeping it with the Rams. Where's Stafford?
Stafford is hurt again.
Yeah.
And again, as I stated when we came into the talks of top 10 quarterbacks a couple weeks ago and how he was high up on that list, he's had a string of really, really bad injuries. And I don't mean really bad injuries as in like keeping him out for long periods of time. I mean lingering injuries that he's most likely been dealing with since his days with Detroit that are all really bad for quarterbacks to go through.
That abusive relationship he had in Detroit.
Yes. Wrists, elbows, shoulders, knees, now his back. I mean, I was listening to them talk about it on Rich Eisen yesterday and how this is going to affect his play. The best part about this is Matthew Stafford, by the end of his career, which hopefully, knock on wood, is not this year. I would love to see him continue his career. Will go down as probably one of the roughest, toughest quarterbacks we have seen in this decade. I mean, you talk about a guy who has taken some shots. We forget. I know he's been on LA for a while and everybody only sees him as a Ram right now, but let's not forget the years upon years upon years where he was the leader of a really, really, really bad Detroit Lions team. And he took a lot of shots. There was a game where he threw out his shoulder, didn't come off the field, finished the drive, scored the touchdown, and then left the game.
Yeah.
He pulled a Kobe.
He's a tough SOB. I always say that. And I think that's one of the trades that really benefited both teams.
Right.
I think not only was Stafford getting away from that abusive relationship, but then Goff, got out of LA, and you've seen what the Lions have turned into, obviously with the little help from Dan Campbell and the rest of the crew over there. But Stafford, man, he's a tough one. But do you think he is ready week 1?
Yes, probably more than likely he will play week 1. But there's a theory I have behind the whole Stafford Goff situation and why it worked. I'll get to that in a second. All of the injury talks about Stafford being said. I do think he will play week 1 and he will play out this year, regardless if he's hurt or not. He's one of those guys that's going to play banged up. My issue is how is this going to affect his play and how is this going to affect the Rams? Because as I say almost daily on this show, time comes for us all. You can sit there and ignore injuries as much as you want. But much like Kirk Cousins learned last year, when you ignore an injury and you try to play on it, it could look disastrous. Let's not forget that Kirk Cousins had a point at a stretch with Atlanta last year where I think he threw 6 interceptions and no touchdowns in 2-3 weeks. Like, it was ugly. So I hope that is not the case with Matthew Stafford. I know Sean McVay is a smart enough coach where he would not put Stafford in that kind of a situation. And I think he's pretty confident that Matt is going to play week 1. You still have a month to get over the injury, so you have plenty of time. But I'm just worried that this injury isn't going to pop up and linger throughout the season.
And that's what you don't want.
Yeah, and make it worse.
A key piece of your offense.
When it's your back, that's the worst one to me.
Yeah.
When I hear a back injury, if anybody's had to deal with back problems or anything like that, it's not just your back. It's everything that piece of your back is connected to. So it's a really rough situation for Stafford. I hate to see that he's coming into the year injured, but I just hope that they could figure this out and get it healed before the season starts. Because if you come back too early, he takes one too many shots and that back starts lingering again. Now you're playing without him, and we've all seen what the Rams look like without Matthew Stafford on the field.
Yeah, and Darlington was asked, when do they expect Stafford to come back?
The best thing I can tell you is not immediately, and probably not the update that Rams fans want right now, but Sean McVay did make it clear that Matt Stafford remains week to week. He is not expected to participate in that joint practice. In fact, when he's practicing with the Rams, he's off on his own, doing his own workout, not within the team drills. Of course, this is disconcerting because of the history with back and neck situations involving Matthew Stafford. Right now, the team trying to evoke some confidence to say this is still general soreness. We're going to try to make sure that we're just playing this right early in training camp. But I will say, every single day closer to the season where we don't have a more definitive, clear update, it's certainly a little bit disconcerting.
And, they did bring in Jimmy Garoppolo to back him up this year.
They do believe Jimmy Garoppolo is a sustainable backup, I would say. Somebody that can easily come in and just keep the offense going. I don't see it.
Neither do I.
I mean, if Sean McVay believes that Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy, who am I to say otherwise? I still say you have Stinson Bennett. Or if he's still on the roster, I'm pretty sure he is. And that should be the guy you go to if all of this fails.
You think so?
Well, I mean, from everything that I hear, I thought Stinson Bennett was supposed to be the heir apparent.
That's what I thought. But
clearly that they're probably also thinking at the same time, if this stuff with Matt doesn't work out, maybe they can join the Arch Manning sweepstakes here in a year or two. But at this point, I would think Stinson Bennett would be the heir apparent, being the guy that you've kind of been grooming for the last 2 years to figure out the offense. Why not go to him first, at least in the preseason, and see how he does? Let him sling it. He was fantastic with Georgia. There's no reason to believe that he can't be that here in LA.
Well, bouncing off the injuries before we get into the whole preseason quarterback ones and who's starting this week and who's not, the NFL came out yesterday and issued a league-wide ban on smelling salts effective starting this season.
Yes, and George Kittle is not very happy.
No.
Which understandable, because if you watched a 49er game last year, you saw George Kittle on numerous occasions with that smelling salt packet right in front of his face. So the reason they're doing this, for those of you who are confused, there was a study that was brought out by the FDA last year, I believe, that stated that ammonia and ammonia-based systems are not good for you anymore. Like, they don't believe that they have the benefits that everyone thought they had. And I say that with air quotes. I'm kind of understanding of that. I've never really understood why anybody would take smelling salts willingly. I get it if you're knocked out and you need the person to wake up, but even then, that's kind of a bad idea. Most of the time when you're knocked out, you shouldn't be immediately woken up like that. So because of this, AIs, and I know I don't mean artificial intelligences. This is ammonia inhalants, is what they call it. They're called AIs as well. Have been banned from the NFL to benefit health of the players and obviously take away that issue from potentially hurting people. George Kittle not very happy about this because he believes, or he's used smelling salts throughout his career. He even jokingly said, "I contemplate retirement."
Yeah.
I highly doubt that anybody's going to be taking that one. There might be a middle ground here that you can find, though. I genuinely believe you maybe you just kind of limit how many they're able to use. I mean, how serious do you think that smelling salts and all of these could really be at least hazardous to somebody's health, right? That's kind of my thought
Well,
process.
one of the other things that the FDA results from last year came out said it also notes it masks neurologic symptoms like migraines or concussions. So that was another reason why of course, the NFL had to jump on it when you use the C word. And when it comes to concussions, think Tua if you'd like. But I think it's another reason. I know Kittle, I watched that interview last night, and he was not only distraught, but he was talking about that he's used that almost every time he goes on the field. And he had mentioned Max Crosby is another player that uses it frequently. But not only is it banned from football players, but it's banned with anybody involved with the staff. They can't use it at halftime. They can't use it in the locker rooms.
Nope.
And I don't know how they're going to discipline players if they were caught to use it, but I would expect it to happen.
These players are going to sneak it in, especially guys guys who are up in arms about this. I would assume are going to make something happen where they don't have to not play without it. You know what I mean? Because I mean, like I said, George Kittle, almost every time you see him play on the field, he's got smelling salts in front of his face. I've always noticed that because it's like every time I see him put his hand on his face mask, I assume, oh, he's waking himself up. But that's also why I'm like, okay, that's excessive.
Yeah, a bit.
And it kind of makes sense now why you're pancaking guys and sitting there laughing the entire time. Like,
You're all cracked out.
yeah, I don't know if you're actually there, bud. Like, I love watching you play, but let's not destroy your brain, especially before we get you on a WWE level.
Exactly.
Please. I would love to see you as a wrestler at the end of your career, but I get why you're up in arms about it. I really do. Players have been using smelling salts for years to keep them alert and get them ready for the next play. I get it. I really do. But maybe we find a middle ground here where you don't get to use it as often, or maybe if there's any chance of you potentially having a concussion, you're not allowed to be anywhere near it. Because that's a good point. I didn't even consider that, but you're right, because that would absolutely offset a lot of the neurological problems that a concussion would show you. Your headaches, you would be you'd be easily cognitive. Because imagine that. Say a coach or a trainer got out to you first after a head injury. He gave you a little bit of smelling salts to wake you up before the actual analysis went on. And now you can't tell if they actually have a concussion.
You're like,
because they're not dazed anymore. Exactly.
I'm good.
They're ready to go. So I get it. That kind of makes sense to me why the NFL would want to put a stop to that. I just feel like there's probably a middle ground you can get here where everybody will be happy.
Hopefully we'll figure it out. But we've got Aaron Flores, a local 559 fighter, coming in at 8:00. And if you'd like to win some Bakersfield Brunch Fest tickets, feel free to text in your fantasy names, whether it's yours or somebody in your league that you just think is funny. Text it in 661-842-2000. Right after the break, we'll get into some preseason quarterback starters this week that we weren't really expecting, right here on the Early Bird Special.
No more tears came on my car yesterday. I damn near.
Mama, I'm coming home came on over the weekend. I was driving with my
Really?
son, and that one,
Ooh, that
one
hit
hits.
hard. The way music can absolutely change your life, man. It's crazy things out there. You'll love to see it. Welcome back to the Early Bird Special. We've been talking a lot of football this morning, and rightfully so. I mean, it's football season. It's spooky season and it's football season. I don't care
Season
what you
starts
say.
tomorrow.
August, I don't care. Summer's over. I'm out of the triple digits, please. That's the one thing I can't stand about.
We've had an
Ugh.
easier summer.
You know, we
I
really
would
did.
say.
Especially compared to the last couple. For those of you who don't live in Bakersfield, California, we've been dealing with some heat waves. I know you guys on the East Coast have been dealing with a lot of heat waves. We've been dealing with some heat waves, trust me. Now, it's nowhere compared to what the South has to deal with, but it's pretty hot out here,
Yeah,
too.
my son just came back from Texas and was telling me that is a whole different type of heat.
I can't. No, I couldn't. Like my entire life, I've always sat there and said, I want to move to Atlanta so bad. I really do. Like, I want to go live in Atlanta and go work for the Falcons and blah, blah, blah. That was always my dream. It really was.
I said the same thing about the Dolphins.
And then I had a friend of mine in high school who used to live in Georgia look at me and say, no, you don't. Like, as much I get it, I really do. No, you don't. Like, and she told me it's strictly because of the weather. You would hate the weather. And I'm like, oh God.
I was thinking Georgia for a couple years. I'm leaning towards now Louisiana. I know how the weather is in Louisiana. I've got family out there.
We got some listeners that are from, and well, they're here, but they are from Louisiana. I know that for a fact because he talks about it ad nauseum. He is the only Saints fan that I actually could sit down and watch football with, to be honest with you. Love you, Bobby.
A realistic.
Oh yeah, very much so, but also LSU fans. So it's
nice.
There's Delulu on both sides of the ball.
I love LSU.
Speaking of LSU too, if you're a Netflix fan and you love these sports documentaries, as the SEC Any Given Saturday documentary dropped yesterday. I got to watch the first and half of the second episode. It is good? Very good.
Really,
very cool to see what happened behind the scenes last season. You start with LSU and their loss to USC in week 1. Paralleled to South Carolina and how they weren't supposed to be anything last year. And they ended up pulling off a huge upset in week 1. And it led to their game, obviously, later on, a couple weeks later, and how that one turned out with the comeback from LSU after South Carolina's quarterback goes down.
Is it done by the Mannings?
That part I didn't check. I'm sure it is, to be honest with you. I'll look at it during the break and let everybody know. But from the production value and what I can tell, it very much feels like one of the Manning docuseries, so it would not surprise me at all. But it is very, very well made, very well done. And if you were a college football fan, highly recommend it. I can't wait to check out the rest of it this week. But let's switch over here to more preseason football in the NFL, as we've had 2 announcements of starting quarterbacks in preseason game 1. We'll start with the Colts, who have been in a quarterback battle between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones of who will be taking over the reins here starting in week 1 of the regular season. And the Colts have decided that Anthony Richardson will at least start off in preseason. Whether this is a good sign or a bad sign for Anthony, jury's out. I feel like this is a test. I genuinely do. Because from what we've seen in training camp, he has improved. At least his answers to the media have been more mature, I would say, and he is much more grounded in or at least he knows what is expected of him as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So that's a good sign going forward. But I do believe that you starting game 1 in the preseason kind of shows me that they're willing to test you more than they're willing to test Daniel. And that could be a sign that you're working from the ground up here. It might be losing this quarterback battle. But that's just me speaking out loud and thinking out loud. What are your thoughts?
I'll repeat what I've always said. I just don't think Anthony Richardson's a starting quarterback.
I don't either. But we will see. I mean, again.
The battle's with Daniel Jones. So
if he can beat out Daniel Jones and start week 1, and then we can see at least some improvement in the accuracy area of the ball, because that's the worst part about him, right? Yep. Is the fact that he could not complete a pass last year. Very Tim Tebow-like numbers. And that's kind of the issue. If you can come out and prove that you can complete the passes to these wide receivers, especially down the field, I think I can turn around, and my at least thought process of him being a starting quarterback in the NFL would change.
I'm still going with that. I think Daniel Jones is their week 1 starter.
Do you think so?
I don't think they'll be good, But
Well,
I still
they'll be a great running team.
yes.
For those of you in fantasy football, look out for Jonathan Taylor to absolutely have a monster year if either of these men are your quarterback, because I'm going to tell you right now, both of them are going to be running around like madmen this year.
Yes.
So,
Well, that's why I think we'll turn to AR, which is a better runner, but just can't
is
throw.
he though? Daniel is a good runner.
He's
That
just
is the
running for his
one part
life.
about his game I give him, is that he is very deceptively fast. And when he was with the Giants, his biggest plays were when he used his feet.
Yeah, when he ran for his life.
So that's kind of why I'm like, it kind of made a lot of sense to me why the Colts brought him in, because you're right. To me, he's Anthony. He has the running ability that Anthony has, but he's just a little more accurate.
Yeah.
So you're really not missing out on much if Anthony doesn't work out for you in week 1. You know what I mean? So this quarterback battle has been the talk of the entire offseason, though, especially with what happened last year with Anthony quitting, or not quitting. It's not the right word, but tapping out, at least, for being absolutely gassed during a drive that you desperately could not have your starting quarterback leave. But I mean, it happened, and they went about it with the rest of the season with Joe Flacco, and we are now seeing what happens with the rest of this kid's career. Because I'm not going to lie to you, if the Colts don't see it in him, I'm not sure if any other team is going to either.
Yeah, and I think this will probably be his last chance to save anything.
Yeah.
When it comes to being a quarterback. Also, some quarterback news yesterday. Steelers rookie quarterback Will Howard has reportedly suffered a fractured bone in his throwing hand during training camp and is now expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks. Obviously, he's not the starting quarterback with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, third string
But now,
quarterback at this point.
I mean, it's just bad timing.
No, terrible timing. But again, it's a benefit for Will Howard that he is a rookie this year, and I don't see Pittsburgh moving off of him. Like, I wouldn't see him slipping into the practice squad. I genuinely believe they have a lot of faith that Will Howard can develop into a starting quarterback for them. That's just kind of how Pittsburgh likes to roll things. And right now, with Aaron Rodgers being in a prove it year essentially for the organization, I think you're in a pretty good spot to sit there and just say, kid, heal the hand and let's move on and figure it out from there, because we got a guy that's already going to be filling the spot. You're not really competing for his job. So unfortunately, you probably won't see him in preseason, which sucks. I was kind of excited to see some of these young guys play and see if they were actually going to look semi-decent at an NFL level.
Yeah, it's always the fun part, especially with rookie quarterbacks.
Well, that and I don't mean this to sound like bad, but this was a pretty bad quarterback class. So that, to me, always gets my attention, because now I'm wondering who in this class is about to come out, ball out, and show everybody you were wrong about us. Because there's always one. There's always one of these guys who comes out, and it may be Cam Ward, maybe it's Shador, maybe it's Dylan Gabriel, for all we know. One of these guys is going to step in. Maybe it is. Maybe it is, and I'm just going to eat crow all year, and the Saints are going to go to the Super Bowl.
Right. Whoa.
Let's not get crazy. So I just think it's interesting to me going into preseason, watching a lot of these young guys play, because I love to see anybody step up and prove the naysayers wrong. But it's going to suck for me, because Will Howard was definitely on that short list of guys where I was like, maybe Will Howard could be that guy.
I was starting to think that they were going to roll with the dice and roll with him instead of Rodgers when we were waiting for those months. But
he could. It really would have mattered if he beat Mason Rudolph outright. And with them signing Mason Rudolph to the money they did, I don't think they were thinking Will was going to beat him out for that starting spot. At least not right away.
I cannot stand Mason Rudolph. But we'll take our final break of the hour. Text in if you'd like to win some Brunch Fest tickets. Just the funniest fantasy football team name that you can think of, or you've actually used, to 661-842-2000. After the break, we'll get into the Browns starting quarterback this week. And it was a bit of a surprise with all the injuries, but we'll get into that and much more right here on the Early Bird Special, ESPN Bakersfield, 1230 a.m.
101.1 FM. Welcome back. Final segment of the hour before we get to our guest of the day. Aaron Flores will be joining us. 559 fight. How about this fight at 559 fight 116 going on this month, I believe 23rd. We'll get to the details on that here in a little bit, but we got a little bit more news to get to out of training camp as the Browns have decided after signing Tyler Huntley, they're going to go with Shedeur Sanders as the starter in the preseason opener. Not really surprising to me. He was the one with the injury wasn't exactly that serious, so I didn't think it was going to keep him out. But he's the one that they have the most questions about. He's the one that they're kind of hoping develops into the starter and the star of the entire franchise. So to give him the starting spot here in the season or preseason opener does not shock me at all. The real question is who gets the starting spot on the season opener. But let's hear from Shedeur real quick on how he feels about getting first team reps right now headed into preseason open.
The defense does a great job of mixing players in. So backers, you got rookies out there sometimes. DBs, you got different guys out there. So it's not mentally I go out there, I'm like, oh, these are the ones I'm going to get nervous. Like, it don't got anything to do with that. And truthfully, I don't care what O-line I go out there with. It could be ones, twos, threes, whatever the situation is. And I know Friday when the game is, if I'm with twos or I'm with threes, it don't matter to me. I'm just ready to get down and get to, doing what I could do.
So Shedeur Sanders, obviously the starter here going into preseason week 1. Spark, how you feeling? Do you think that he's going to do well? Do you think this is going to be a real big test for him? I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. It's preseason.
Luckily,
football.
they're playing Carolina as well. So, I mean, we went back and forth because, it's been kind of tough because I thought, okay, well, Dylan is probably going to be the first guy up after Flacco. And with Flacco, resting during preseason, at least this week, and Dylan being hurt and Pickett being hurt, I think this is a perfect step up for Shedeur. I mean, he can go out there and sling it and prove some people wrong, and he might just leapfrog over at least Dylan Gabriel as, he's dealing with an injury. My thing is who's going to back him up? Are we going to be seeing a lot of Shedeur on Friday against the Panthers and then maybe some Hunt, Snoop at the end of the game? Or
that's what I would assume, right? Because I don't think you put Joe Flacco out there during preseason. He'll be on the sideline, probably helping you with signal calling. But I doubt that the Browns actually go to him to play. Right now, he, to me, is still the outright for the starting spot. And everything we hear from camp says that Shedeur Sanders has been the most productive, I guess, quarterback out of the 4 that are competing for these spots. So it didn't really surprise me that they wanted to see him go out first. Dylan, I think you'll see a flash of, but not a whole ton of. I think you'll see most of the game will be Snoop Huntley because obviously they'll know what they get out of this guy. And I don't see him being on the roster long term. Realistically, I think he's just kind of here, like you said yesterday, as a camp body and to help out with filling the roster while they make their evaluations on the future. I am going to say, though, much like we said with Anthony Richardson, this is a tell for you as Shedeur Sanders. You have been the most productive, like I said earlier. I want to say prolific, but that's not the right word. Productive is easier and better in this situation. You've been more productive than everybody else. You've shown that you have a higher ceiling. So this is a test for you, much like it is for Anthony Richardson. Can you come out and do that against a team that is that you're not used to seeing every day? A team that you are, don't get me wrong, the Browns have a great secondary. That's probably the beneficial thing of seeing, or what you're seeing with these stats, is that he's going against guys like Ward and various others who are starting caliber corners, and he's looking good against them, which means that he might look good against other people too. But how is he going to look going against Carolina's defense? I think this is a great team to go up against at first to gain some confidence, and going into week 1, he could potentially have at least a stronger argument of why he should be starting if he looks good here in the preseason open. So
definitely a good test for him. And ideally just want him to get in and get out, right, and no more injuries to that quarterback room, because that would be horrific for a team that's already dealing with 2-3 different quarterbacks that are hurt. And I'm not even bringing up the guy that they're overpaying with Deshaun Watson. Well, and that was something else I just wanted to bring up because that was brought up in Unsportsmanlike. If he's cleared the Browns have a problem. They've got to do something with Watson. And if he can prove that he's not injured and he's cleared, then they either have to make that decision to release him and just cut ties like we all expect him to, or find a different way to either trade him out, which I don't see anybody trading for.
There's not a lot of trade value for Deshaun Watson right now.
So
I would assume they just move on and cut ties if that does end up happening. I'm surprised they haven't really figured out a way to do so right now. I understand he's injured, so there are bylaws within contracts that you can't really do that. The relationship between him and the Browns is kind of soured at this point. I don't think there's really any reviving it, and there's really no going back. So even if he does come back, I would expect them, I wouldn't say immediately, but within that week, Deshaun Watson will be moved or let go just because of everything that's happened in the last couple months to years. So, I mean, this entire situation is just lost. They've already moved on. This is like an ex still living inside the house while the wife is dating the boyfriend.
yeah, we're just trying
And we're about to get married, and we're trying to get you out of the house, big guy.
Out.
Like, get out of here.
Get out.
So we're seeing how it happens right in front of our face, but at this point, Deshaun Watson is a non-factor in this quarterback room. That's why we've talked about it as a 4, not a 5. Otherwise, they would still be saying, hey, maybe Deshaun has a shot at the starting spot. No, not really, especially with all the legal allegations and stuff that he's dealt with.
And some other miscellaneous training cap notes. The New York Buckeyes.
Yeah, no, I was going to get to that too. We'll get to more of this on the other side of the hour, but Justin Fields does not look good. And that's not good coming off the foot injury and everything else. I think there's a lot of curiosity of what's going on. From what we understand at practice, he's been about 35% completion rating with 2 interceptions with 3 full practices of work. Now, again, we're just getting started. He's been injured, so obviously he's coming off of that. But that's just not a very good sign if you're a Jets fan going into week 1. Hopefully, Justin could figure it out. We'll get to more of that and much, much more after we talk to Yarin Flores from 559 Fights right after the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. And welcome back to the Early Bird Special here, hour 2 on this Wednesday. We've talked a lot of football, but we have to shift over here because our friends from 559 Fights are back in the building. This time we talked with Yarin Flores, somebody who is 2-0 in professional fights. Sir, how are you? How you feeling? You're going into this entire fight against Joe Luna here on August 23rd out in Visalia. How's the training been going? How's everything been? How the prep and all that? Are you feeling a little sore? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, training's been going great. Been practicing every single day, and just a few bumps and bruises, but
Naturally.
yeah, feeling great.
Okay. Now you're 2-0, and I asked you this during the break because I was curious myself. Both of your fights are back in 2024, and you've had about a year's gap here between your last one and this one. Why with the such a long gap?
Just life got in the way, life injuries or injuries to the body, and then also I've been busy with school. So, but now that I'm on summer vacation, I'm ready to go. I've been training all summer for this.
Okay.
So I'm excited.
Are you a college student as well? Then I take it, or
yeah.
What do you study?
Right now, I'm in the BC program for a physical therapy assistant.
Okay. Fantastic. And how far into you are that, or are you into that? I should say.
Just finished my first semester. I'm going to my second semester for the fall.
Okay. So is this something that you kind of wanted to do all the time or throughout, or is this just something you kind of picked up on that you just kind of found a passion for?
Yeah, I think I always wanted to do physical therapy, just didn't know which route to take. But also balancing that with my training has been crucial too.
Naturally.
Yeah.
So, okay. So with the professional fighting and going to college at the same time, because you're the first one we've talked to that I think is a college student, or at least I didn't ask the other guys. I should have. I didn't even think about that. How do you balance the whole school and fighting situation? How do you balance your training and everything else?
So when I'm in school, I only do train probably 3 times a week, or lift weights and run and do shadow boxing and stuff like that. Outside of school, like on vacations, I train every day, 3 hours a day over there at the Shoot MMA.
Okay. And how in depth do those workouts get for you when you're not in training for a fight?
They go pretty in depth. I have like sometimes 2 days, Tuesdays and Thursdays, got condition in the morning, and then in the evenings I have striking classes and grappling classes and skills.
So it's still picking up on the same type of work, but you're just not prepping for a fight itself. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. So no, it makes sense. So going into your first 2 fights, obviously from last year, your first one was an 18-second TKO. Explain what happened there for everybody who wasn't watching.
Not much.
Yeah, that
clearly.
Yeah, very early. But I feel like if it was my first fight, so I was super excited about getting a TKO. I was not expecting that, but it was something out of a movie for me.
Really?
Yeah, because it was my first fight, so I needed to what's it called? I was.
Well, it sounded like you proved yourself. I mean, geez, the first fight going there all pumped up and then knock somebody out in 18 seconds.
Okay.
I mean, that is a movie.
Yeah, exactly. I was pumped up about it.
So you were sending a statement, obviously, with match 1. Match 2 didn't exactly go that way, though. Still won by unanimous decision. How are you feeling going into that one? Was there a little bit of a difference in your training style between the 2 fights?
I focused more on grappling in that training camp too.
Did you?
Yeah. So my fight that played out, it was more grappling based. I took him down. I did like a Khabib style, ground and pound, just the whole fight, and won by unanimous decision.
Now, you were telling me in between the breaks that you have dabbled in both, but you started in striking. So where did all of this start?
So I guess it started when I was 6 years old. My mom put me in karate, and from there, I just fell in love with it at an early age. I've been doing martial arts on and off throughout my whole life. Around 10 years old, I picked up kickboxing. I had like a few smoker kickboxing fights. And then once I got into high school, I picked up wrestling. I was a pretty decent wrestler. Didn't go far in it, but after wrestling, that's where I felt like I improved the most. And I picked up jiu-jitsu at Eric Nolan's Extreme Training Center.
Nice.
And under Coach Brian Travers. And from there, I joined the Army, did some Army combatives there, and
Really learned how to harness all of that and kind of
yeah,
put it together.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Once I got out of the Army, that's where I mixed it up. I learned. I was like, I'm gonna do this MMA thing, try it out, mix everything I learned, and here I am now.
Okay. So is this something that you're kind of wanting to propel into more than this? Like, are you wanting to go full professional with the fighting, or are you just more doing this until you get your college career figured out?
I think that's the dream, to become a professional fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, obviously you're working towards that. So besides Joe Luna, who else are you kind of looking forward to taking on?
Right now I have my eyes on Joe Luna, but I'm just taking it one fight at a time.
Really?
Whoever they
As
put
you
in front of
should. I
me,
mean,
that's who I'm gonna fight.
it sounds like you got a good head on your shoulder. You got a lot going on, positive, whether it's school. I mean, going into the military. I mean, you've been training since you were 6 years old. Do you know anything about the difference between, going into this fight with Joe Luna?
Going into this fight with Joe Luna, I think I'm gonna focus more on my striking. I want to showcase my striking more. I'm hoping for a TKO finish or submission, but yeah, I want to go and strike with him.
Are you somebody that kind of wants to go for that every single fight? I know that's something that a lot of fighters kind of strive to do, is you don't want the judges to kind of end it for you.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed about my last fight. It came to an unanimous decision, but I was like, I don't like winning this way. I want to finish my opponents for sure.
What do you think kind of brings that out of you though? Like, what drives you to want to be the one to finish it?
It's just the feeling of domination, like of imposing my will against someone else.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a kind of I've never really thought of it that way, but I could see that just the pure will of wanting to dominate your opponent would drive you to just want to finish every opportunity you can. Are you still with the Army too? That's the other question I had too.
No, I just got out maybe 2024 January.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you serve at all, or did you go anywhere?
Yeah, I was stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas.
I appreciate your service, sir. And then what can you tell us about that? Do you have any interesting stories about your service?
Not really. It was very basic.
Yeah. Just in and out kind of a thing, and now you're moving on with the college.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you planning to go back at all, or are you just kind of like, you know what, I did it and I'm out?
Yeah, I did my time and I'm out. Pretty much, I moved back. Kansas was really cold compared to Bakersfield, so I was like, I'm moving back to Bakersfield.
See, I'm telling you, man, California changes you. Once you feel that California weather, you can't live anywhere else. It's just weird. But so that's interesting too. Somebody who you have obviously been all over the place in your life. You're still in college, still figuring it out in that area. What kind of led you to all of this though? Like, what made you think that, hey, I want to go into the Army and figure this out? Like, is it just always been a part of your life? You've always just kind of wanted to try stuff?
Yeah, I get inspired by lots of things, movies, television shows, even people like my grandfather who was in the Army in the Mexican Army. So I get inspired by stuff like that, and that makes me want to challenge myself and put myself out there. Even being here today, I was inspired to come here and talk to you guys.
Something outside your
comfort
window.
zone.
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple quick questions for you. One, we always ask the 559 fighters, but for our listeners who have never maybe gone out to a 559 fight event, what can they expect? Why should they go out there? I mean, obviously we want to see you knock out somebody in 30 seconds or less, but I mean, what can they expect? I know they usually have a long fight. I think last month was 15, 20 fights on the card. I mean, like, you're not just going for 3 or 4 fights. You're going for the day.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night of fights. There's going to be, I forgot how many fights that night. But each time I go there, it brings the action, the heat. So I encourage anyone who wants to go watch, drive up to an hour to Visalia and purchase tickets, enjoy a great night of fights.
Yeah, just go to 559fights.com. You can get all the information. We'll be out there. Obviously, we always ask our fighters, who is your favorite fighter, and who would be your dream match, whether they're dead or alive, but who would be your ideal dream match?
My ideal dream match. Wow. So my favorite fighters are GSP and Habib.
Nice.
Those
Good
two,
choices.
yeah, those two are at the top of the list for me. Um, I say my dream match though would be Peter Yan. I know he'll kill me, he'll destroy me, but he's so good. I just enjoy watching him.
Look, man, I've always said John Jones would be mine, but there's never been a man that's walked into an octagon and walked out the same with that man. So I don't know if I'd be able to last either. It's still just fun to think about, though. And honestly, I could see a lot of the GSP in you now too when you say that, because obviously GSP is one of those guys that would go out just to dominate his opponent. Do you study film of GSP and a lot of these guys like Khabib and just kind of want to emulate what you see with them as well?
Oh yeah, I study film all the time, and I pick up techniques. I write it down on my notebook, and I was like, yeah, I practice it every day.
Now, how do your coaches feel about that, though? Because I know a lot of coaches tell people don't really copy what you see, but bring it to me and let's emulate it into your game.
Yeah, my coach, Brian Travers, he watches a lot of film too,
Does he?
but he's very experienced. He's 18. His pro record was 18-5. Fought all over California. So I listen to him when it comes to advice, and he always brings in good techniques, whether it's striking or grappling.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for your time, my friend. We really appreciate it. 559 Fights again, August 23rd, out at the Visalia Convention Center, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Tickets are on sale at 559fights.com, and we will hopefully talk to you and a lot of your other opponents here pretty soon, my friend. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back.
Big shout out to Sergio over at 559 Fights. He keeps lining up these fighters, and they're getting better and better. And we'll have German next Wednesday, pumping up the fights on August 23rd. And we just heard from Aaron that he's actually the 559 fight champ. This will be our first time having a champ.
I think this will be the first time
Man,
having
I'm gonna tell him to
a champ while they're a champ.
bring the belt.
You have to bring.
You got to bring the belt.
If you don't bring the belt, then all this you're not. I mean, what?
We
How are
gotta
you a
get-
champion? You don't walk around with the belt.
Right, we got like KG. I watched one of his music videos, and he
got
was
the belt.
cleaning his belt.
Oh, yeah.
But we talked a little ESPN on the streaming side the other day, and now more stuff is coming out as the official notes and what's actually included. And in the last 24 hours, now they have purchased all the rights for WWE PLE events. So now our Peacock
ESPN
from what $5-8 or whatever, now it's going to be $30-40.
Well, this is why I'm kind of curious about it. Okay, so the ESPN deal with the NFL, where they have bought Red Zone, NFL Network, all of its shows. ESPN gains all of that, plus I think 7 or 8 more games, a couple Super Bowls. In exchange, the NFL gets a 10% cut of all of what ESPN makes. Everything from every sport. Doesn't matter. It's not just football. 10% of what ESPN makes is going to the NFL. That's the deal that they made. Now, the WWE, I have yet to see actual numbers that coincide with what they're getting for this, but it does seem like they will be moving off of the Peacock network and onto ESPN programming, which means, yes, wrestling fans, you will have to now pay $30 a month rather than $8 a month to watch all of these PLEs. Boy,
ESPN home for WrestleMania,
So,
SummerSlam. Can you
I'm
imagine
gonna
that?
need 2 of my friends to call
To
me.
throw in.
So we're gonna throw in $10 a piece, so we all can be fine with this, right? That's where this is leading to. Hopefully, we don't get the password sharing stuff that we're getting with Netflix and all that right now. But I just $30 a month.
Yeah, ESPN will pay roughly $325 million per year, totaling over $1.5 billion across the 5-year contract.
I don't know how many people you're gonna get for $30 a month. That's a lot.
And do I shut off Peacock? I mean,
And are we gonna have commercials?
yeah.
Are you gonna charge people $30 a month for commercial based content?
Dude, in just 1 year.
They're not gonna eat. They're not gonna take that.
WWE has signed with Netflix and is signed now with ESPN. And that was my question is, okay, well, all the content that's on Peacock, like where you can go, 25 years back to Royal Rumble or watch all the WrestleManias. And now with all the, shows, I know some of them are sprinkled onto Hulu, and which is a part of Disney.
Naturally.
But, I wonder if that library is coming with it.
That's a good possibility.
I thought it was going to go to Netflix or go to Hulu.
Well, that's why I'm kind of hoping. Like, if you sit there and tell me I get Hulu and all of this bundle thing like they did earlier, Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN all in a bundle for $30 a month, 100% that's worth it.
Oh yeah,
100% that's worth it. But like, just the pricing of all of these streaming services and the fact that they're all owned by the same companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're all owned by the same companies. So it's like they jack up the prices on each other.
I just miss Blockbuster, man.
Man.
But the shift from ESPN will launch its standalone streaming service on August 21st, priced at the $29.99 a month.
Is it really this early?
It's
2-3 weeks.
There's going to have the unlimited tier, which is the $29.99. So you can pick different packages. If you're only a wrestling fan, if you're only wanting Red Zone, if you're only wanting this.
I swear it better be. If it's a la carte, I'm going to be happy. But I know I'm going to have the $30 one.
Yep.
Who am I getting? I'm going to have the $30 one. It's who wants to split it? I'm calling all homies.
Well, that's my issues because I have to get YouTube TV to get my Sunday ticket. But now do I just get the Red Zone with the ESPN app, or do I add it to my Sunday ticket, or am I going to get double booked? I mean, it's just.
Well, let's be honest. Red zone is nice, but you're going to want your team still. So
Well,
if you
I'll
have
still get my
Sunday
Sunday ticket.
you're going to need to keep Sunday ticket.
So do I get the red zone with the Sunday ticket, or do I
That's-
just shift over to ESPN for my red zone? I mean, I'm running out of space on my smart TV with the apps.
At this point, yeah. And
I just had to get-
congratulations, everybody. We're back to cable,
Right?
but you're just paying for it individually.
Probably paying more now.
You probably are, honestly. And like with the amount of subscriptions a lot as an average person has nowadays, you are more than likely paying way more than your cable bill ever was going to be.
Yeah, the cable was like 80, 90 bucks. We're paying, and now you add a $30 ESPN one. I mean, geez.
And what is a PlayStation or an Xbox other than the glorified cable box now?
Yep.
You probably watch more cable on that than you do play video games.
Playing the
on
video
it.
game, right?
Let's be honest. So, and I've said that for a while now. It is what it is. That's just kind of the way the world is now and the future is headed. So we're going to have to deal with it. I hate the price tag to it, but hey, if it's unlimited and I get all of ESPN's programming plus all of these pay-per-views that I miss, I mean, well, that I'm going to miss, I should say, if I don't get this.
Well, I know a lot
I'll
of
find
fans
it.
were kind of nervous because how UFC does, how they get the UFC PLEs through ESPN.
Well, that's what
but-
I'm wondering too.
but
Am
you
I
have to-
getting the UFC PLEs with this too?
Nope.
Oh, you are kidding me.
Nope.
What? What?
You'll still have to pay the extra fee. You'll get the
No.
early fights.
You're gonna kill me. I can't. No. Why would you not pair that? No, I
Because
know
they're
exactly
getting
why.
50,
What am I
60
talking
bucks from
about?
those.
Exactly. Like, what am I talking about? And probably most of that money goes to Dana and TKO anyway. So who am I kidding? It probably doesn't even go to ESPN. I'm sure ESPN gets a cut of it for broadcasting it, but it probably most of that money goes to the actual promotion. That bugs me though. That bugs me to my core. It is what it is, but why must we continue to make more of these streaming services? We can just make one and call it cable. I don't get it. I really don't, but it is what it is. That's just where the world is right now and how we're moving. 661-842-2000. We got some tickets to give away at some point today. If you want some tickets to Brunch Fest going on this October, all you have to do, text in 661-842-2000 with your favorite or your fantasy football team name, fantasy sports team name. Doesn't have to be football. It could be baseball or basketball. I don't care. I just want the best fantasy sports team names right now. 661-842-2000. Winner gets a pair of tickets to Brunch Fest going on in October. We will take a break real quick, pay some bills. On the other side, we got some basketball stories to get to. There's a former Miami Heat security guard that just got busted for selling $2 million in stolen jerseys. Plus, I want to get Sparky's thoughts on the Chicago Bulls going back to the pinstripe jerseys. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. Sorry, it's been a while since I've heard this.
Back to the Future, baby.
Absolutely. This is still one of the most underrated sci-fi movies. I don't think people talk about these movies enough.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies.
No, I know. And anybody who grew up in the '80s says the same thing. But I just,
Ouch.
well,
That and
I'm right. I'm saying it with you.
White Men
I grew up in
Can't
the
Jump.
'90s. No, it's one of those movies that I can rewatch a million times. And it's equally as good each time, even though it's just
Yes.
like I know what's coming. I know he's gonna jump on the hoverboard. I know he's gonna get away from Biff. It's just
Out of all three, which one's your favorite?
Oh God, that's a good question.
Second one's mine. That one was probably the best one.
I don't like how the third one ended because the third one ended with the entire train thing, right? And
Yeah.
the Cowboys and stuff. And I was
I didn't
like,
care for
I
that
didn't
one.
care for that. I think the first one still holds that piece in my heart.
Yeah.
It has to.
So
So
I
I
gotta go with
with
the
number one.
original.
I
But
gotta
the
go with
second
number
one going into the future,
Yeah, that was
which
pretty
is
fun.
trippy if you watch it now.
Yeah, and the hoverboards and
Because
and what we should have right now.
2000s. I'm
But
still waiting on my hovercraft.
and tell me you wouldn't grab that sports book and take
Oh
it back
yeah,
with
the
you.
almanac.
Come on.
course.
I totally would. Absolutely would. You could make some good money off of that. Let's shift over because actually there's somebody we could talk about making good money off of stolen goods. The Miami Heat security guard, or former Miami Heat security guard, Marcos Thomas Perez, 62 of Miami, was in court yesterday as he's facing charges for stealing over $2 million in stolen jerseys and other memorabilia during his time as a security guard for the team. Wow. Again, I know it's easy since you're close to the situation, but what are your thoughts on this, man? Because I can't. The fact that you think you can steal over 100 items.
Well, dude, he had 400 game-worn jerseys.
I know, and that's what I'm
and
saying. Like,
collectibles.
and you don't think they're going to catch on to that?
Right. But I mean, that's where you cut your losses. When you're up to 400, you're just pushing it, dude. But I've been in the underworld where they raffle and sell autographed and game-worn uniforms, and everyone, they have the same story. Where, like, where'd you get that? Oh, so and so, we went to a game. So I would tell you, if you're collectible or if you're a collector and you're new to it, double check everything you buy. Make sure they all come with certificates. Not just fake ones, because everyone and AI can make those for you. And make sure it's JSA or Beckett, and you can actually look up the cert number and you can identify if it's the same thing that you're buying. But it is it's a dirty world in that collector world.
Oh, 100%. But even more than that, this guy's kind of dumb because take this into consideration. Now, he sold over 100 items to reach the $2 million surplus that he got, right? Or sorry. $2 million. So one of those things was a playoff worn LeBron James jersey that he sold for approximately $100,000. That same jersey was turned around and sold at auction for $3.7 million.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't even know what he had. And he's still, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like, I don't condone this, nor do I celebrate it whatsoever. But if you're going to be a criminal, at least be a smart one. If you're going to steal stuff, at least sell it for the right amount of money. You sold a playoff worn LeBron James jersey for $100,000 and you thought that was enough? $1 million minimum. Are you nuts? This guy, that's the thing that baffles me, is if you're going to be a criminal, at least be smart.
Right.
And you are not smart, which is why you got caught.
I know it's an addicting type thing when you start getting, ideal like treasures. Like when I got my Undertaker signed earned, I was addicted. I had to get out. I had to talk to the wife. I'm like, all right, this extra money is now going to, a different savings account. But not only that, but I mean, some of the items that he had some NBA final jerseys, he had some game worn stuff, but not only that, but like headbands. And I mean, it gets insane. And when do you draw the line? I mean, if you've made a couple $1 million, Why do you continue to do it?
Because he's making a couple $100 million and or $100,000 and he needs the money, man. That's his lifestyle now. He lives in Miami. He lives and for those of you who are curious, this guy's a 25-year retired veteran of the Miami Police Department. And he worked as a heat security guard from 2016 to 2021, and then as an NBA security employee from 2022 to 2025. So literally last year. And at the end of all of this, you know how I kept saying, why would you steal it when you know there's only a select few people that are in the area that could actually get to it, and they're going to figure out who you are.
Right.
When you narrow down the list of people who it could have possibly been, and it's not going to be some Joe Blow who was the towel boy that day walking through and just yoink and grabbed a jersey and ran away with it.
Look, there's a LeBron jersey.
Exactly. That doesn't happen. This is like the entire thing with the Tom Brady Super Bowl jersey when it was immediately stolen and everyone was freaking out about it. And I'm like, dude, you have cameras all over the place. Just find the guy. He clearly works for you. It's easily narrowed down to you. And he was one of the only people that actually had security clearance and access to the stuff that was stolen and sold.
And that's how they found him. It was tipped off. They got the camera, or they got the video. Federal agents recovered nearly 300 additional stolen items during the search of his home. I mean, it's
ridiculous.
It is
absolutely ridiculous. You are a 25-year vet of the police department, plus a almost 9-10-year veteran in security, and you threw it all away. Well, not even threw it all away, because you were doing it the entire time. What am I talking about? You didn't care. You were doing it the entire time. You were a security guard, and you were probably getting promotions while doing it. So who am I to say? Like, we were sitting here saying, how could you do this? What are we talking about? This guy was getting rewarded for stealing stuff at one point, probably. Not unknowingly rewarded, but still rewarded in his eyes. So at this point,
jackass.
It's just one of those situations. Yeah, exactly. Jackass. The other thing I wanted to bring up in the world of basketball before we shift back over to football and talk about Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones, because we have to talk about that before we get out of here today. Chicago has decided they're going to bring back the MJ era red pinstripe unis, as they announced yesterday or 2 days ago on their social media accounts, with Dennis Rodman being the centerfold of said pictures. How do you feel being a Chicago Bulls fan? I love these jerseys.
Love it. Are they going to do the black one too?
I believe so. Yeah, I think because that was one of them that was in the background, was the red pinstripe black. Like,
oh yeah, I got a Rodman one just like that.
Exactly. So I think that's what they're going to go back to in the alternate jerseys here for the Bulls coming into this year. I wish it was for a better team, but
yeah,
it you know what, we're gonna look at the Bulls losing style, baby.
Right.
That's what's gonna happen. But how do you feel about Dennis being the one that was the centerfold of all that, though?
That's the only one, man. Rodman was my favorite player. I love it. And everybody knows Jordan. He's got his own brand, and Pippen doesn't get any love, but I love the selection of Rodman. Those black ones with the red pinstripe, that one, and I love the old school Chicago in cursive.
Yes, that's really nice touch to it too. And I know this has been the first time that they're going to be wearing these since 2013. But if you are a baseball fan, you know that the White Sox made their entire city connect unis based off of these uniforms, and they look so good.
Yeah,
they look like, I hate admitting the fact that they may have the best City Connect unis, because I love Philly City Connect unis. The blue with the like, I don't even know what color it is on top, but it's just really nice, and it's nice to look at. I really enjoy ours, but I'm not gonna lie, these red pinstripe ones that the White Sox run based off of obviously the Bulls pinstripes just look so clean. And it's one of the first uniforms I remember falling in love with as a kid. I'm not gonna lie.
It was that, and I love the red helmet. But the Dolphins, man, I'm really excited because we've talked a little bit about it a couple months ago when it was announced. But the new rivalry jerseys, which are supposed to be announced here in the next couple of weeks, which 2 divisions were selected, and they'll be able to wear these special rivalry, limited edition type jerseys. And the Dolphins, there's been a little bit of talk, but they have a black helmet with the orange logo and the black jerseys with the orange numbers, and they are dope.
Everybody's got to have a black helmet.
And of course, I'm not gonna turn away. I wasn't gonna buy any jerseys this year. I have a black merino jersey, but they've never worn them, and these ones have a little tweak with how the numbers and the lines are. So I'm gonna have to get one, but I'm gonna have to get a retired player's jersey
You
because
can't
I'm
get
not.
somebody on the team right now.
I have a closet filled with former Dolphin jerseys, and I can't do it to myself
I
anymore.
mean, fair. The only one that you would get probably on this team is what, Waddle.
I usually try to go defense, so I wouldn't. I mean, I may be a sealer. I don't have a sealer jersey. I mean, he'll be at least around for 3 years.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but I always roll back with the Duper Clayton because you don't see a lot of those. I'd love to get a John Offerdahl or a Brian Cox jersey because you never see those.
Joey Porter.
So maybe no.
No.
And especially now because he's going to be retired in Pittsburgh on a Monday night game in December
Okay,
against the Dolphins.
Okay, yeah, against the Dolphins is rude, but do you blame him though? Like, come on, his tenure with the Steelers
Of
meant more
course,
than
I
his
get
tenure
it,
here.
but why'd you have to do it with the Dolphin game?
Fair,
Why'd you gotta do it
absolutely
then?
fair. Well, maybe it's because you both want to honor him. Who
Maybe.
knows?
And
Maybe you do
Pouncey-
something cool to put the two of them together.
Pouncey will be there as well, so we'll see. But we'll with the last couple minutes because I don't want to get into this too deep. But the green toy has made another appearance. This is the third time in what, a little over a week. Third
Nah,
city.
I think it's been about 2-3 weeks
Jeez
now.
Louise,
but
man.
again, is this an okay? We know it's an epidemic. It's happening across the league, but now it's at a Sparks game. Is there a message being sent here, though? Is what I keep thinking. Like,
I was thinking that, especially because it was thrown towards Sophie.
well, that one for sure. Yeah, they probably threw it and meant to hit Sophie, but because Sophie Cunningham has been one of those people outspoken to say, knock it off. You're going to hurt one of us.
And who kicked it?
Sophie.
No, it was Plum.
No. Oh, it was Kelsey. No, you're
Yeah.
right. It was Kelsey Plum.
So it was right in the middle of those two.
I'm just wondering who started this, why, or I'm sorry, we know who started this now because the person was arrested, but I want to know why, what was the purpose, and is this just a craze or a trend that's going to start, or is this something like someone sending a message to these players, calling them, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it that, or is it the green color because of the money? Or
We may be reading into this a little bit too much
maybe
for
it's
it,
just
but
something they jumped on and
for it
not
to
jumped
happen
on, but-
once is funny. It is funny. 2 is a coincidence. 3, okay, now we're reaching why.
And is how they getting by security with these, dude?
That's what I'm saying too, and that's why I'm also wondering what are you doing to get them past security? Because if we haven't sent a league-wide memo to security guards to look out for this by now, what are we doing? Unless the WNBA just thinks this is a good thing. Maybe they think anything like Jerry Jones, anytime you're talking about us isn't a bad thing. Anytime that we get talked about, period, is not a bad thing. And they're not wrong. Anytime they get talked about, eyes and ears go straight to the WNBA and wonder what's going on over there. What can we see? You know what's funny about this? So,
And when do they show up in prop bets?
yeah, no, that too.
Because that's the world we live in. But
absolutely.
we'll take our final break of the day. We'll get to your text. And of course, we'll have to get into good old Jerry right here on the Early Bird Special.
Oh, welcome back. This is the early bird special. Final segment of the day. Thank you for joining us today. Join us tomorrow, once again, 7 to 9 a.m. As always, a big thanks to Aaron Flores, 559 Fights. Go out to my Celia in a couple weeks. Go check it out. 559 Fights 116 on August 23rd. Let's finish up with a little bit of NFL news, though. Actually, no, hold on. I'm sorry. Let's get to the text message more because we got to give these tickets away. We got to hear some of the best names. I love fantasy sports names. Fantasy football names usually are the ones who take the whole cake. But what do we got?
Yes, yes. And we'll kick off our Fantasy Fridays this Friday. But the text says we've got the tush pushers.
Blah.
Show me your TDs.
Like that.
We've
Nice.
got Stafford infection.
God.
One says the Sethapaloozer.
A loser?
Yeah, he said his name is Sethapaloozer.
Okay.
He said
Okay.
that's a chat
Okay.
GPT special. The other one says somewhere over Dwayne
Somewhere over the Dwayne bow. Okay. If your name's Dwayne, I can give you that one. That's a nice one.
And the last one I can't read on the air. So
PG-13. PG-13. I'd love to give you the winner, but I think the best one was probably Stafford infection.
yes.
I think Stafford infection wins the ticket this time. So we'll reach out to you right now, 661-842-2000. Look out for the text message. But if you lost today, don't worry. We got tickets for you for the rest of the week. You got 2 more chances to win them right here on the Early Bird Special. Just listen on 7 to 9.
Training camp news just reported Carolina Panthers cornerback J.C. Horn was held out of practice today as he was in a car accident on the way to the stadium. And Tyreek Hill is out with an undisclosed injury.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a positive thing as long as it's not serious and he cannot talk on the press conference today. So I'll take that as a positive. And the last text of the day says, I was actually hoping that the Rams would pick up Keenan Allen, but it's cool to see him with the Chargers.
Well, the Rams, you guys don't really need wide receiver help right now. I think you guys are great with Puka Nacua and Adams. I don't think you really need anything else. But you're right. I mean, him filling out the slot would be nice. I think Adams likes to play in the slot a lot too, though. So it may have been a little bit of a clash there. Again, the issue for me with the Rams right now is the health of Matthew Stafford more than anything. If you can get him healthy and happy, obviously you're going to have a chance at least a playoff spot. I'm not going to go as crazy and say Super Bowl contender, but we'll see. Obviously, the NFL season changes every single year. The Philadelphia Eagles could look like trash. They really could. God only knows.
Hopefully it's just the Bills.
Well, that's from your lips. I'm not saying nothing. I love Josh Allen. Let's go over to Dallas, though, because Jera has spoken out about this whole Micah Parsons situation. Look, man.
This guy.
I know he loves everybody talking about Dallas.
Of course.
This is why I wait to the very end of the show to talk about Dallas, because everybody talks about Dallas enough. You're going to hear up and down ESPN today of what is this situation with Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons. Why can they not sign Micah? Why is Micah unhappy? How could Jerry allow the best defensive player in the NFL to go unhappy? It's absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, Jerry has got me all stumped up right now.
He does that.
He does. At this point, Jerry, at least from what he keeps saying to media, does not care. And honestly, everything I keep hearing, I keep reading his quotes, and I'm just like, this sounds like a really angry old man.
Yeah. And I think he's pissing off the wrong player.
Yeah. Like, this seems to me like an old school dude that's just like, nah, don't care. He's going to play on that year. We're not going to trade him anyway, so he's going to play. It's like he's playing hardball.
And I've heard, more rumors lately is that he is serious about not paying him right now, and that he could wait until in November until the last minute if he has to trade him. If he doesn't, I mean, I just don't see a player like Micah Parsons holding out that long.
No.
But I mean, if anybody would do it and step up to Jerry, it could be him.
Honestly, he's the one with the most power right now out of the three. I thought for sure if anybody was going to do it a couple years ago, it was going to be Dak. But after the year that Dak had right there in the prove it year, I was like, okay, you got to take whatever the heck they're going to give you, big boy.
Yeah.
But the Parsons situation, I think you're right. I think this may be a stalemate situation because, like we've said, and I've heard a million others say too, when it comes to these kind of situations, there's what he said, there's what he said, and there's what's actually the truth in the middle. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what the truth is. All we know is that from the Micah side of the situation, they claim that they haven't even had conversations about numbers and years and how much he's going to get paid. And Mulugeta has yet to hear from anybody within the camp. Jerry Jones, on the other hand, has said, no, I thought we had a deal pretty much done before he left. And now we're at a stalemate in the middle. I don't know exactly what is true. Jerry is claiming that he really just doesn't care. He expects Micah to play on this $21 million year contract that he has, the last year of his rookie contract and this entire option. It seems to me that he's just going to play hardball with this, though, and he's not going to back down from it. And that, I agree with you, may not be the right move to do with Micah Parsons.
I know. I listened to Jerry yesterday. He was talking about, we did a handshake, and that is as good as any money I'll give you. And he said, that's how I bought the Cowboys, and that's how I do business.
But see, and that's kind of where I'm worried, is that might become an archaic way of thinking here in today's society. A handshake means nothing. Most of these players don't think you have loyalty to them because everything that the league has shown, most of the teams don't. As soon as you become not valuable to a team or to an organization, they are very swift to move off of you. So there's not a lot of backing and loyalty in sports anymore. And that's just kind of the way things are. So handshake deals, verbal agreements, all that type of stuff don't cut it anymore. And I think that is something that Jerry, well, not that he needs to. He's an older man that most likely is going to retire here pretty soon and hand the team off to, I would assume, his kids, or somebody within the organization is going to buy it off of him. So I think it's just going to boil down to, or I think it's just boiling down to, he's getting angry with the fact that they have not been a contender and he wants one more ring before he's gone. That's been his goal this entire time since the Dak Prescott thing has started. Shoot, since the Tony Romo era with DeMarcus Ware. They were trying to build a championship team back then. And he's been trying to do it ever since. And he desperately wants that one ring to rule them all there, Smeagol, in order to, be able to say, all right, I'm done. I can retire and give this to whomever needs it.
When looking at that kind of vision, wouldn't you think that you would want to pay Parsons in?
You would think that, yeah, but he's also sitting here for some reason believing that paying the contract is going to lead to an injury, because that's what's happened with Dak Prescott and a lot of these other guys. I obviously don't believe that's going to be the case. If there's any athlete in the NFL that we've seen has been healthy and happy for the majority of his career, it's Micah Parsons.
Do you think it ends up getting done?
I want to say yes, but at the same time,
I want to bet on Jerry.
If Jerry wants to continue to play hardball, I don't think it works out for you. I really don't. I think that you end up trading Micah at some point, much like the Hassan Reddick situation last year. You can sit there and claim, oh, he'll come and play for us eventually. Nope.
Yeah.
No, he did not in New York, and you knew it.
He came out at the very end of the season and played a couple snaps, but that was
back for Philly.
Oh yeah, because he was traded.
Yeah.
But that's what I don't think he is that stupid.
Again,
Parsons? Jerry.
Jerry. No, I don't think he's that stupid either. I think Jerry is one of the most brilliant owners in that room every single Sunday. But the problem is your hardball tactics, although work maybe 80% of the time, there's still that little piece that maybe it won't. And I think that's kind of what you're facing right now in Dallas. Do I believe he's going to be gone? No, not really. But I do believe that with every day is a growing concern that it's more and more likely going to happen that you're going to move on from Micah Parsons. And that's not a good thing for the Dallas Cowboys whatsoever. But that is all we got for you guys today. Thank you for joining us. Join us again tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m. Do we got Daniel Betts tomorrow? Are we talking to Daniel?
We're waiting on confirmation.
We potentially have the owner of the well, Daniel Betts, tomorrow. If not, we got plenty to talk about in the world of the NFL. But until then, we got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. This has been the Early Bird Special. Sparky, let's get out of here.